Hi guys, I hope you're having a good day. I am Indian. I've also lived in Singapore now far longer than I ever did in India. In May of 2006, when my parents forced me to come to Singapore, I was irritated, angry at having had to abandon my planned year of leisure, grade 11. The move to a foreign country, far bigger than the small town I was used to, was daunting. After having been surrounded by one kind of people in my former school and town, in Singapore, my untrained eyes could not differentiate between the various races that coexist here. I guess I was too young to be conscious of the differences and be appreciative of the beauty of those subtleties. But the awareness of diversity was happening, was growing within me simultaneously while I was observing this world and quite unknowingly becoming a part of it. The gradual sensitivity to the minute differences in the cultures made me appreciate even more how Singapore fosters, supports, and encourages diversity here. Eventually, my transatlantic journey west for further education exposed me to the resplendent beauty of a prism made of people from different parts of the world with their very own unique stories. On university campuses, which all of you will be part of very soon, the blending and accepting of all never made me feel isolated or alone in any way. And I guess that's one of the biggest advantages of diversity, that no single individual need feel out of place or othered in any way. In my own experience over the last decade, transference of people across borders, countries, cultures, languages has exponentially increased. Last year, when I moved to London to pursue a postgraduate degree in literature, I had the opportunity to really experience how a small space can embrace such difference that no two people on the street look or talk the same. It's not like I had not been to London as a visitor before, but I guess to feel the essence of a place, you need to be nudging for space in overcrowded trains and rails and buses or constantly haggling in department stores. The cohort I was a part of on campus, to me, slowly became a symbol or a unit of diversity. There was no majority or minority on campus. In fact, there was representation of so many cultures that it would have been hard to recognize that the campus itself was a university in London, if not for all the Queen Mary University of London flags that were hung all over campus. I argue that a sense of belonging is very closely tied to a place. And the sense of ease I felt, and felt quite easily and organically, was because of the mutual respect that my cohort mates and I created for each other over the course of the year. To me, that then begs the question, what is it that brings people together, allows them to interact in this manner? Professors, students, what is it that has broken the restrictions, boundaries, walls we so easily erect? I believe that diversity doesn't just come about in a vacuum. It is a product of policies of countries, university bodies, governments that allow people to come into their territory that makes the difference. Policy makers make the difference. You have to make people of your country accustomed to outsiders. How else, if not you exposing your people to all kinds of people? Decades ago, my mother, too, had pursued the same degree I was working towards. And very coincidentally, my father happened to unearth an old diary that had lain forgotten on some shelf in our India home. The same diary in which my mother had years ago painstakingly jotted down the syllabus for all her master's classes. Unable to resist, I compared. Most of the texts that she had covered all those years ago were written entirely in British English, and its contexts were entirely Eurocentric. Rare was a text even written in American or Irish English. In contrast, mine was a travel across the globe, from Martinique to China to Korea. A young girl living in a tin shack in Zimbabwe, illegally migrating with her aunt to America, knowing full well that she would never return home to her mother. Or a young man living in America, so traumatized by his childhood that the only way he could feel was through self-harm. Or a small town in Nigeria on the brink of ruin because of a Western country that so aspired to dominate the oil that the town produced. The fact that translated texts or stories situated in varied contexts are now part of universities and high school curricula shows how painstakingly teachers are now preparing their students for the very diverse world they are going to be stepping into. How imperceptibly our minds are being opened to different peoples, different cultures, time periods, histories. And that is how we become more rounded and more attuned to today's world. I argue and put forward in front of you the fact that most important ways of fostering a diverse population is for all of us, individuals, first to have a diverse perspective. However, that isn't automatic. It's not a miracle. It takes effort to understand and to open our minds and our eyes to understanding people and knowing people and treating everybody equally. It has to be carefully curated. Places like London provide ample opportunities to foster diversity. Queer Month being celebrated throughout the city, Diwali parties, pujas, Holi being celebrated with as much gusto and celebration as Christmas and Easter. Food choices. All I had to do was walk a lane over from my house to be able to be met with a buffet of cuisine options. Indian, Mediterranean, Burmese. I mean, I don't know if you have a Burmese restaurant in Singapore. I haven't been to one yet. Chinese, Japanese, Thai, American restaurants lining the street. And that is true for any borough in London. These opportunities make diversity a way of life. We have to understand that we are not only part of a diverse society, but we need to be open to that diversity. Natural sympathy towards diversity is an ethic that needs to be instilled in the generations to come so that when you step out, you don't find two people alike. Thank you.